Why you think about tomorrow the car could hit you? Who says it's going to happen? And where is the evidence it's going to happen? Where's the evidence it's not going to happen? You don't know. Stop thinking about tomorrow. The music is playing here right now.
Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode 401. Hope you're amazing as always. As we enter this new century, I suppose it is, right? As we move to 400 to 500 episodes. I'm pumped about that. And do you know what? I wanted to make some new changes for this new stage of Mindset by Design. And that's really what it is. It's a new stage of Mindset by Design. For a start, we're going to change the name a little. Mindset by Design Show. Like it? Like it for what? Business and performance. So that's going to be the new name on social media, everywhere, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to this. And also what I'm going to be doing is I'm recording a ton of high-level interviews in March. I've probably got about 10 people already signed up. And these are people with big followings who are all not necessarily famous, but they've got big followings in their niche, and they're all multi-millionaires in their businesses. So we're going to learn a lot from these people. So I'm pumped about that, and I'm just pumped about everything. I'm just to let you know a little bit about what's going on in my life. Obviously, it's been a week since I put an episode. So hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm sitting in the UK, and I haven't been here in a couple of years. And it's this time around. I've always had a bit of an issue with the UK because of my childhood, a little bit crazy. Done a lot of healing over the years, you know what I mean? It was awesome. It's been going over 8 years, the podcast, right? And where I'm staying right now, it's exactly where I launched the podcast from. I had the idea about the brand, what I was going to do, had all these world-class guests lined up, and we launched Mindset by Design. And to think back, we've done 400 episodes, and I'm here right now of 401st episode, and I'm in the same place, the same location as I was that time ago. That's pretty profound, right? We talk about synchronicities in life. Well, that's a big one. So I'm pumped about that. And the other thing I'm pumped about is it's like everything. You know, if you're a regular listener, that I love New Year's, I love birthdays. And why? Because it gives us a chance to reflect, to look at our unconscious patterns, to look at the direction of what we're living our life as, or what business we're kind of creating. And so what I've actually done is I've actually sat back just a little the past couple of weeks, you know, not been as much social media posting. Obviously I took a week break from the podcast, which is very unusual for me because I love doing it. And I really wanted to know what I want to build this next stage of my life into. You know what I mean? So that self-reflection, so many other entrepreneurs don't consider that work, right? Unless they're literally tapping that keyboard, clicking things, doing all that's work. But it's not just work. Every idea that we've ever had about our business, the direction of it, the decision, the role, everything we have about it, it comes from the inside. It comes from tapping into our intuition. It comes from connecting with our vision of what we know we want to create our life and business like. Because this is the thing, right? The older you get, you know, I'm getting on now. This is where we're leading up to. It's my birthday at the end of this month, which I'm pumped about, always. But I'm really looking for the truth of what I want to experience my life as, okay? So for me, I don't want to be working 6 days a week anymore. I don't, right? I want to be making sure that everything that I'm doing is executed beautifully, and I want to be leaning into my superpowers. So this is why this year's going to be a little different for me in a beautiful way. I'm going to be doubling down on the podcast. I'm going to be getting on hundreds of different shows. I'm going to be interviewing so many awesome people. I'm going to be getting on lots of stages, lots of different summits. I've brought in a PR person, and I'm pumped about this year because this is what I really loved. I enjoy. I love speaking. I love coaching. I love training. I love doing content. I could put content out all day and it'd make me really, really happy. So what I'm doing is I had to sit back and give it, what do I want to build to be able to help all these badass entrepreneurs who are under extreme pressure, especially as the world changes. I want to make sure that everybody's got a brain that's powered with jet fuel. That's my goal, right? Having a jet fuel powered brain. And part of that is health. I've been going through my own health journey, physical health journey, and it made me reset and really look at what I truly want. And I like to be out there. What isn't for me is sitting behind the scenes and building a digital business that just creates and generates income. It's kind of boring. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of boring. I like the freedom side of it. But what I'm going to do is everyone works at different paces and everybody wants different things. So I'm relaunching, and this is like, you're the first to hear this. I'm relaunching the world famous 8-figure thinker mental training academy. It's the most in-depth, complete training system for high performance that exists on earth. Bold statement? That means you just haven't been through it. That's all that means. Because if you'd have been through it, you'd be pumped and you'd literally changed your life. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but that's coming out very, very soon. Very, very soon. And I'm really, really excited about that because it gives people just the ability to get all of these cutting edge, incredible skills just to take their game to a whole new level and be absolutely bulletproof and be a genius in every area of their life and business. But that's coming. Well, so what else the UK did for me or is doing for me, because I'm still here for another week or so, is it makes me reflect. But makes me reflect and then change patterns, because there's nothing like, if you guys have probably lived all around the world, or you're not living where you grew up. And if you are, that's okay too, but experience comes from wisdom, and wisdom, or the other way around, wisdom comes from experience, and experience comes from seeing new things and experiencing new things and putting yourself out to the world and taking risks and making changes. And that's what I'm doing here, because I come back to the UK and I found it very hard. Many years ago, I found it exceptionally hard, but I've always found it a little tricky because it triggers me. There's so many things that trigger you. But I made a real intention to make sure that I come back as this peak performance ultimate version of me, so I can have this disassociated, which is a perspective, right? It's a disassociated perspective, but really centered and grounded, so I can be aware of my neurological patterns getting triggered, and then what emotion, thought, or feeling is linked to that, and then what perspective or filter is connected to that, so then I'm able to rewrite it, right? Because if I can rewrite those things, then what happens in the unconscious mind, and remember what the unconscious mind is, it's the software that plays in the back of our head. That's like the software that plays in the back of a computer, meaning it's automatic, it goes on repeat and makes us think and feel and act a certain way. So there's everybody, it doesn't matter what level of people I've worked with. We're talking billionaires, Fortune 100 companies, some of the best traders in the world, or entrepreneurs building and scaling a badass brand. The truth is, it's like we all have these blind spots. And those blind spots, right, unless we have an incredible partner like I do who's very, very conscious and self-aware, she points out these patterns to me constantly. Does it drive me crazy? It drives me so crazy. Is she right? She's always right. So I have to listen. And if you don't know Steph, make sure that you're listening to the episode 400. It's pretty good. We go into some deep things there. And by the way, my sound's up and down on this. I've just noticed it's because I'm using my travel mic and it was just on the wrong setting. So I've just clicked it over. Hopefully this sounds a little bit better. So where am I going with all of this? You're probably asking, right? You're probably asking, Andy, what the hell are you even talking about, man? You're going everywhere today. I'm going everywhere today. It made me reflect. I'll go back to that word I've said like 20 times already. But it really does, because I've got a funeral tomorrow. One of my family members died. I've got family I haven't seen in a couple of years coming here. My little niece, one of my uncles, and his partner's coming. So I'm really excited. I caught up with my auntie yesterday, who I haven't seen in 20 years. So there's a lot of trigger responses happening, and I love that, because it gives me a chance to expand and rewrite them. And that's what I wanted to bring up today, right? Obviously, if you know me well, I love martial arts. Done martial arts since I was a kid. Could have gone professional at some point, but there was definitely no money in it back then, for sure. And that's why I brought a little clip today from the Shaolin monks. And the thing about Shaolin monks, everyone focuses on their martial arts skills, right? Which they're pretty badass, right? But they're monks. Do you understand? So that means they're deeply connected with themselves, exceptionally philosophical, and they're Buddhists. So they have a deep, profound understanding of how the universe works. And it's funny because I look over right now and I'm sitting in this house and I can see a book by the Dalai Lama, Wisdom of Compassion. So that's next to Warrior Mindset, which is another book. So that's interesting. It makes me laugh. And actually the other book there is Be Here Now by Ramdas. So interesting room, right? Triggers again. And triggers aren't necessarily a bad thing. They're also a good thing. In neurolinguistic program, what we call that is anchoring. And anchoring is external, it's internal, it's people, places, and things, it's sounds, it's emotions. There's so many, it's environments, it's and so many ways we use it for good and hyper performance in business. But what I wanted to bring up today, because I've actually been training with one of my old school friends, who we competed all around the country together, in teams together. I was on the England squad when I was younger, the England team. And it's amazing. Again, it makes me feel, it makes me feel like an artist who's able to paint again after a severe injury. My leg getting snapped in half like 13 years ago. So it's all of this is coming to the point. My point is that I wanted to share this clip with you today because so many of these triggers in normal people's lives, and it can be in mine, create a fear response or a response to the future with an emotional charge that does not serve us. However you want to look at it, right? So I want to bring in some ancient wisdom or Buddhist wisdom from the Shaolin monk today, and obviously I'll jump in and say my 2 cents worth. Remember, everything I'm about is deep science, neuroscience, behavioral psychology, NLP, 21 years of wisdom nearly of building hyper performers and also being one, and a deep connection to the universe, which I really believe in so much in the vibration. There's a thing that we can connect to, right? Whether people talk about the quantum physical world or you're talking about, as I say, frequency and harmonics, it just, or your nervous system or your brain or brain chemicals, it doesn't really matter. They're both majorly important and they both work synergistically with each other. And if you're not utilizing one, then you have to utilize another, because the truth is it's just a belief system. It's just a belief system. And wherever you want to come from, that's where we can go. You know what I mean? And that's what creates true success. If we looked at a samurai warrior, and you're going, Andy, what the hell is a samurai warrior got to do with business and making money and being happy? They're killers. Yeah, they were killers. But what it was really about is they were paid bodyguards, basically. But more than that, what they would do, they did calligraphy. They were a poet. They were an artist. They were obviously very connected to themselves. They were in pursuit of absolute perfection, that they knew perfection didn't exist, but they were constantly in a pursuit of it. Or what we can call these days a flow state, if we talk about what Stephen Kotler's work, right? So when we start to understand that's what we are as a human being, we must have synergy or homeostasis between every part of us, right? Because that is what creates ultimate happiness. That's what creates ultimate fulfillment. That's what creates ultimate results. Does that make sense? So we're going to jump into it now, but just before we do, make sure that you're heading over to andymurphy.online for the latest and greatest stuff. Make sure that you're getting your mind hack pack. It's brilliant. Yeah, it's going to teach you, it's got books, it's got audios, it's got videos, and it's all designed to be able to give you a massive amount of technical tools that are able to give you one thing. And that is control of your mind, emotions, the peak state that you're stepping into, and therefore your results. So head over to andymurphy.online and grab that now while it is still there. And remember, the 8-Figure Thinker mental training system, or the Mental Academy, is about to relaunch, and you're going to want to be a part of it. And I'm going to make it affordable for everyone.
Have this inspiration in the mind, and then they start to manifest because they know that mind is so powerful. I am capable of doing it. So they use the power of the mind to manifest something and either benefit themselves or maybe benefit others. But it is the same powerful mind which for other people then at the same time is creating the fear. But instead of understanding, yeah, but it's the mind, I just need to switch it over and make it useful for me. No, they stay inside the fear becomes more, the powerful fear becomes even stronger, and then it becomes so strong, the fear, that it even blocks people in doing anything.
Let me jump in there, crew. We've all had that feeling, right? We've all had those moments in time where we just feel defeated. It doesn't matter what we put out there. Sometimes it feels that we can't go on. Everything's going wrong, right? And it doesn't matter what level of success that you get to. Not everything works. Because we create things from a logical mind. And we create things from a system, a formula that worked for somebody else. But the truth is, what happens then when that failure happens, or a perception of a failure, not reality, it's not true, it's not a failure, it just did not work, right? Edison, light bulb, right? Out 10,000 times. And then what happens is, if we keep repeating that pattern, the brain starts to wire into something that is a version of us. But that isn't a real version of us. It's not. It's just a version of us. And then it starts to become normal, right? And that normality then flicks your brain over to see the world a certain way, and then feel about the world a certain way, and feel about ourselves a certain way. But we also know what it's like because we can remember it now a different way. We can remember it now. And what that means is that you can also remember when you had success. You had growth. You put things out there with excitement, and you lived life without attachment, and you just built who you were without thinking. You put yourselves around the right people, right? You watched the right books, the right movies. You just took action with excitementness. And what happened? Things started to click together, didn't they? So do you see, those are like two different worlds, two different universes, two different galaxies, two different versions of you. One that is defeated, one that is a champion. And understand, what's the difference between that success? Is anything happening different outside? No, the cars are still going past, the clouds are still in the sky, right? The sea and the ocean is still hitting the sand. Nothing has changed externally, but everything has changed externally. Does that make sense? So what is the difference? Well, it's the power and your ability to master your mind, right? And when we can really understand the power of that, then there wouldn't be a single poor person in the world. There wouldn't be a single traumatized person in the world. There wouldn't be anything that's broken or damaged, because we knew how powerful we can truly be.
But the fear, it's a construct of the mind in the first place. You fear that you get a car is going to hit you tomorrow. Yeah, hello. We are not tomorrow. We are here right now. Why you think about tomorrow the car could hit you? Who says it's going to happen? And where is the evidence it's going to happen? Where's the evidence it's not going to happen? You don't know. Stop thinking about tomorrow. The music is playing here right now.
What happens in life and business is that the brain is very, very adaptable. And it's also very impressionable. Think about this. Think about the way social media did over the vid, right? Over those couple of years. Every channel, everywhere, across all outlets, were pushing a narrative. I'm not saying this narrative's right or wrong, but what I'm saying is they were pushing a narrative, and the narrative was fear. Doesn't matter what the context was, the narrative was fear, right? Think about it, right? I remember going onto YouTube and they had a whole channel, right? And it was just a whole live stream of news channels talking about everyone's going to die, basically, right? CNN, all these news channels. That was the same thing. Everything was pushing a fear narrative. Now, let me explain a concept to you that you might not understand. It's called potination. Potination is the response. Basically, look at this. If you were watching a horror film on your own in the dark, right? Even though you're in your own house, everything's completely safe. Would you, when you switch that horror film off, walk around that house a little bit on edge? Of course you would. Of course you would, right? That's the same thing. If your brain becomes immersed in something of fear, right? Like what this guy's talking about, then what happens is you start to see the world that way. Everything starts to feel that way. You become on edge. So how can you perform in your life? How can you perform in your business? How can you truly, truly live to your complete success if you are mind reading or make believing about the future? The future is not real yet. But it's never real. Because if 5 of us sat down for dinner, right, one night, and I interviewed everyone a week later, every single person would have a different view of what happened that night. Some would have annoyed, someone would have annoyed them, right? The food was good, the food was bad, the music's loud, the temperature's too cold, too hot. We all have a different perspective of reality. So what I wanted you to understand, it doesn't matter what level you are playing at in business and life, you are still human. Get over yourself, right? Get over yourself. You play in the money game, there's always going to be someone with more money. If you play in the happiness game, well, you can compete with anybody. And when you start to understand that fear is a state or a neurological network that's connected to a amygdala or an alarm system in our brain to make sure that we're safe, then all we've got to understand is this is the wiring and we can change it. And because we can change it, we can focus and take action a different way towards what we want. So fear is a real thing. It's a real response. But it becomes a practice of how good we can be to control how long we stay in fear, and also how we go into fear, or how fear triggers us, or the depth of fear. Because fear can take you right down into depression. Fear can take you right down into schizophrenia. Fear can take you right down into hiding in your home, or holding back from launching that webinar, or growing, or scaling, or whatever it is, right? That's the difference. So I want you to understand right here, right now, you can get control of this. All you need is a set of systems and skills.
But this fear of the future, this anxiety of what if, what if and what if not. Both of them are there. But the problem with the fear is, he's very strong. Fear is just nothing to let your life be determined by. But then you ask yourself, but why? Because there is something else which is hindering him at the moment. And oftentimes this can be fear. Fear is number one. Fear of existence for some people. Fear of losing is the other thing. Fear is like the main runner. How do we deal with fear, for example? It's just like this. Fighting is not fun. Fighting against somebody else who also is trained, and then even if you have like gloves on, doesn't matter, is quite painful sometimes. And also, very honestly, I don't like even to fight. It's not that I like it, but I feel the challenge about it. I feel how much I need to like jump over myself now to go out there, and just even if it's just training. So that means for a martial artist normally, it becomes like a different perspective when it comes to fear, because it's all the time when you walk out there. That you are dealing with fear. Fear of what if I lose, what if like he hit me, what if I get hurt, what if I don't stand up anymore. So many fears is it that you are dealing with, but ultimately you conquer them.
So do you see the comparison? I'm hoping you do. The comparison between martial arts and business, right? Because what's the difference, right? There, like when I've competed and I was training the other day, I'm battered and bruised, but it's a case of they're going out there and physically getting damaged. Like when you're training or competing, you get physically damaged. So you can be hesitant, right? Because you don't want to take that impact again, because it hurts, man. It hurts, right? So what's the difference in business? There is no difference. It's a mental, right, hurt. But it also can be a physical hurt because it's business can damage your health. It's damaged mine through the years, and the truth is, then we can become reluctant to step into the unknown again. We can be reluctant to be innocent and playful again. We can be reluctant to trust a person again, a business partner or a partner in general, right? Inside of business and life. Because business is life. Life is business. It's our own evolution, our own growth, our own expansion through the reflection of business. If we're on point, the business is on point. If a business is on point, it generally means that you're on point, right? In not every aspect of your life, that's a different conversation. But when we start to understand the comparison between a martial arts thinking or a monk's thinking, and truly giving our everything, our best in business, we have to change that perspective. So like what he just said then, it feels like the fear is there, but then he has to jump over that fear to step into that version of him that then goes and competes. And that's the thing about life. We have to get over that old version of us, that neurological boundary, right, that we put around a possibility. Remember, I was talking about that fear response. We have to step over that, switch off those things, and then step into a specific version of us for the task, right? Now, some people call that an alter ego. I don't like that term in any aspect. Why? Because I don't want you to live in ego. I want you to live in a passion, alignment, truth. I want you to love what you do, right? That's very different to ego. Ego can be exceptionally damaging, and it's what holds us here to earth, if you want to go down that path. But when we start to understand that we can step over and become a different, ultimate version of us, that version of us sees the world a very different way. And that gives us power.
The outlook on the rest of the life looks different. It changes something inside of you. It changes the perspective, how you are looking at things, where you see other people, they are living in fear, but fear of nothing. Fear of something they have created with the mind. People have this inspiration in the mind, and then they start to manifest because they know that mind is so powerful. I am capable of doing it. So they use the power of the mind to manifest something and either benefit themselves or maybe benefit others. But it is the same powerful mind, which for other people then at the same time is creating the fear. But instead of understanding, but it's the mind, I just need to switch it over and make it useful for me. No. They stay inside the fear becomes more, the powerful fear becomes even stronger, and then it becomes so strong, the fear, that it even blocks people in doing anything. Why you think about tomorrow the car could hit you? Who says it's going to happen? And where is the evidence it's going to happen? Where's the evidence it's not going to happen? You don't know. Stop thinking about tomorrow. The music is playing here right now.
With so many distractions in our life, with so many examples of what perception is perceived to be, we are showing what happiness is. We are showing what success is. And it's so easy to miss life. Right? We spend hours on social media. We spend hours on watching TV and Netflix. We spend hours thinking about things, the future and the past inside our own mind, while life is happening right in front of you. And when you truly understand that, presence is everything. Because if we want to go into quantum physics, that's where we access superpositioning, infinite dimensions. When we're present, we access our intuition. When we're present, we are guided. But when we step into logic, we can create a machine, but the machine isn't going to make you happy. It's not. And if joyfulness and happiness is the point in life, then wouldn't you want to experience that in everything you do? Easier said than done, of course, but that's the power of the mind. It can kill you or cure you, just like a scalpel. So what is it that you truly want to do with your life? Because every day it's ticking, every day it's happening. And so the next part is the final part of today. And it might have been a little heavier episode than normal today. You know, if you want a bit of lighter one, go back to 400 or the other 399 before it. But I want you to leave you with something that is absolutely profound if you take a big deep breath for me now and truly listen.
The fearful part is one day you look back and say, you have wasted your lifetime. This is the fearful part.
There we go, crew. The end of episode 401, a new chapter in Mindset by Design, and hopefully a new chapter in you. So, do something different, step up, and let's, first thing you can do is head over to andymurphy.online. Grab yourself some awesome tools. It's always getting updated. We've got this project, and this thing, and I'm just here to help. So make sure you're sharing this with somebody. Make sure that you are writing me a review, and make sure that you're hanging out with me on social media somewhere. Until then, have an amazing week. Much love. And oh yeah, one more thing. Why don't you smile for me?
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.